Before I started my own SMMA social media marketing agency, I dreaded client acquisition. It was the thing that was keeping me up at night. I didn't know where the next client will come from, put it this way. And so I relied on referrals a lot. I relied on word of mouth, on waiting around, not really having a strategy or a plan. After starting the agency and after signing now 30 plus clients in less than 3-4 months, I realized that actually the biggest thing with the agency model actually in general is fulfillment and operations. Most agencies, when they try and scale, they don't have a client acquisition issue, they have a fulfillment issue. And so because of that, because we're in the midst of the AI revolution, I thought I would spend more time figuring out the tools that we already use in our agency and the tools that maybe we're missing out on, that we kind of leave money on the table with by not using, and start to incorporate some of these things proactively in our operations, in our systems. So in this video, I'm going to cover basically the acquisition tools that we utilize. We're going to also go into operations, and we're going to go into all of the tools that are actually useful right now, not the random stuff that's hidden behind clickbaity titles and videos on YouTube that actually doesn't help anyone, or the same old used up ChatGPT and such. And so let's go into a lucid board and actually exemplify a couple of these concepts. It's easier to visualize. Start from the start. Basically, the first distinction that I want to make is that in the marketing agency, people understand the marketing agency probably, or at least I used to, as mostly fulfillment, right? Marketing, sales, fulfillment, or if you're lucky, maybe like an equal kind of distribution, 33, 33, 33, kind of like an equal spread. And that's really not the case. When you start SMMA, when you start service in general, you realize that because the services are so commoditized, you're actually going to be spending most of your time in marketing and sales. And actually not even in sales, most of it will be spent in marketing. And that is the fulfillment fallacy. The fulfillment fallacy where people end up over-servicing a couple of clients, hoping they're going to get them stellar results and they're going to keep them forever and they're going to scale with them. And don't get me wrong, there are agencies that scale and stay with the same clients forever, and they're just comfortable at a certain level. But if you want to scale to 10K and beyond, rapidly without relying on one client pulling off and succeeding, and if you want to get to something like 100K, 200K, 300K per month, beyond which the agency model kind of breaks a little bit, not to say that it's not possible, this is where you're going to be spending most of your time in marketing. And so because of that, when I go into the tools that we use each step of the way, I want you to basically bear in mind the big question, which is, where can AI actually help? How can AI help with these three pillars? And AI, we actually have a client that's doing a ton of automation right now. And the way they pitch it all the time is it helps with boring tasks, with repetitive tasks, with tasks that are error prone, and tasks that are above all standardized, something that's repeatable and that can be delegated and elevated basically. And those are a lot of them. You'd be surprised when you start spending time. You're better off spending time on this now when you don't necessarily need it, to understand what can come in handy, because this is going to open up your mind to what's possible, right? If you think that you need to get 2-3 clients and charge them, I don't know, 30K each to get to 100K per month, well, that's probably not going to happen. But if you start thinking about it in terms of scaling this horizontally with multiple clients that pay you, let's say 2-3K, whatever's in line with the market, then you're going to be able to understand that actually you can service 40, 50 clients, 100 clients with the right systems in place and with the right process, with the right productized service that you offer to each and every single one of them in a very similar fashion, with so-called zero cost of replication, or with less cost of replication. Zero cost of replication doesn't mean that you're servicing your market with coaching, with done by you programs like all the gurus do. You can absolutely do done for you, but you actually want to leverage AI. You want to leverage as much tech as you can. And so right now, AI is multimodal. What that means is we can embed and we can use text and video. We can turn text to video, video to text, and all of that, which is fantastic. And this opens up the world to a ton of utilizations and applications, which you probably already use, and maybe you're not aware that they're built on AI. Maybe some of them aren't. I don't really know. I don't really care. As long as it's machine learning, AI, automation, whatever it is, if it gets my job done easier, then I am interested. I am using it, adopting it early. And so let's start with sales. Because in sales, there's a little bit of help that you can get with AI, and I want to cover that straight away. First of all, in sales, you're going to need to do prospecting, right? You're going to need to be generating lists of leads, so lead generation. If you're going to do that, well, then you're basically going to go down the route of outreach outbound, which is you've got a list, you start DMing it, you start emailing it. You can use tools like instantly.ai, you can use tools like SmartLead, tools that are basically email automation sequencers. Lemlist is a pretty famous one, and what they do is they basically utilize a bunch of automation to send mass emails, and also there's a bunch of DM bots that can do similar things in DMs and Instagram and whatever. But I'm not going to dwell on that because we go hard on inbound, and by that I mean we go hard on paid media. Inbound because they're raising their hand. I know it's outbound, but if it's done right, then I like to think of it as inbound. And so paid media, especially for an SMMA, it's a bit of a judo move because your marketing becomes your client's fulfillment as well. In paid media, you of course have creative, you have copy, and then you have media buying, right? The actual process of buying media on whatever platform you're going to be on, TikTok, Meta, Facebook, Instagram. When it comes to creative, you can go down the route of video, you can go down the route of static. We go hard on video because it's harder to create. Not going to be hard for very long, and I'll show you why in a second because of all these tools. You can use tools like heygen.ai to create virtual avatars of yourself, which can basically create the VSLs, the video sales letters for you, even your ads, anywhere that you're required. The heygen application can come in quite handy. It's fairly robotic, it's fairly crappy still at the moment. Don't even think about keeping your hands in the frame, forget it. It's gonna look absolutely atrocious. But if you want to give it a go, be my guest. I've put the websites in these bubbles, heygen.ai. I actually think that this is one to keep an eye on and to potentially, watch, because it's going to evolve. I think if it's already where it's at now, where these renders are pretty accurate, pretty human-like, I think this thing is going to be quite powerful quite quickly, and when it is, it's going to be game over. There are creators out there that apparently already use these things and A/B test them on their social media feeds for organic content creation, and they report that actually it outperforms their real videos. Let's move on to Nvidia.io. Nvidia.io is a video editing tool that automatically pulls B-roll and creates the script for your video. So it's pretty useful. It's pretty basic. Some of these tools you can kind of use synergistically, singularity if you will. Basically you use it to create your prompt. It's going to create your video. It's going to put B-roll to it, and then if you like it, then you can start kind of like showing up in front of it, and basically you achieve a very good production video quickly with the help of some of this text to film technology. Cool. Then you have captions.ai. We use captions to caption all of our videos, and also for AI aided editing. It punches in your video automatically. Wow, this has become really Apple-esque since I last checked this website. I'm not checking this website because this is on mobile. By the way, it also has a function which can basically pull your eyes into the lens in case you choose to use the teleprompter function. And AI eye contact, AI speech correction, it's pretty useful. It's definitely recommended. We use it a ton, if nothing else, at least for captioning, because it's very accurate. It reads your voice impeccably. Okay, Submagic. You can also use Submagic for captions for Alex Hormozi. There he is. Alex Hormozi style captions with those little emojis and things. It's pretty good. They're adding new functionalities all the time. So for content creation, for your marketing, 100% recommended as well. So that's your video. Then you have your static. On static, well, Midjourney is not just for static, or is it? Don't use Midjourney as much right now. Midjourney is, in case you've never seen it, never heard it, it's actually a Discord channel where you give prompts and it creates the images for you. But I mean, let me tell you why I don't really dwell on Midjourney too much right now. It's because of Canva.com and its magic module. It has its own magic creation tool, and that basically takes prompts and creates your create with AI. That's the one. It has a bunch of modules in there, a bunch of features in the studio, and it does all kinds of things for you. It beautifies text, it edits photos. It actually renders and generates brand new images from scratch. Takes prompts such as write me 5 social post ideas. So it does ideation as well, design too. It's really great. It's really versatile, and I would much prefer this over Midjourney, simply for the interface, for the ease of use. And yeah, Canva's evolving rapidly, so adapt it because it's going to enable you to create many creatives that stand out at scale. Add creative.ai is another one. Speaking of scale, I'm not a huge fan for lead generation. It can be pretty good for e-commerce, where you want to create such kind of variations very rapidly. What it does is it plays with the geometry, it plays with the shapes, with the layouts, and it just creates all kinds of variations to throw into the mix into your ad campaigns. It's really impressive, the amount of output it can generate in literally a couple of seconds. But when it comes to really switching up your concept, it can't do much, because it basically works off of an image. So that's what it will do. It'll get you this image, that image, and then that image. What it does really well though is it writes quite good copy, fairly decent copy. Not to say that you're going to keep it. Do not keep the copy that it churns out, because it's just a starting point. It's enough to to fix your writer's block, to get you creative, but it's not meant to be the be all and all of it. And these competitor ads, Creative Insights, I still take them with a pinch of salt. They're trying their best, bless them, to give you insight, to give you useful data. I can't say that I've seen anything that beats my intuition just yet, but I will be watching the space for sure, because it's impressive that it's already at this stage of capabilities. And that's your creative side done. In the copy department, apart from the regular, the sort of regular embeds in other apps, like I just showed you in Ads Creative.io, and in many other tools that use languages, LLMs, then you obviously can go straight to the source. You can go to ChatGPT for ideation. You can use ChatGPT 4.0, train your own model with your own files, with your own base of information and records. You can again use that for copy, for scripts as well. I don't rely on it too much, but I can definitely see how at scale, training it on our clients' proven frameworks for ads, this can definitely churn out some good quality content. And again, it's one to basically watch on, not for out of the box utilization, the GPT itself, but for the modules, for the modules and for the prompts that prompt trainers are actually creating around it. Now you have media buying magics. Not sure if anyone has really heard of this one. It used to be the craze before media buying, before the iOS 14. It creates audiences, it creates stacks of interests. It has the ability to really dig into your analytics in your Lambda, in your websites, and automatically create audiences based on how the depth of scroll in page, how deep people scroll. Your VIP clients, the ones that dwell on your website the longest, the ones that buy more frequently, that come back multiple times. It works more for e-commerce. It works better for e-commerce than for lead gen, but it does have a pretty good interface, dashboard. It tries to sell itself as your AI media buyer at the moment. I don't think it's quite there yet, but it might be at some point. Then again, media buying, especially for lead generation, as a skill in its own right, is not that deep. As long as you know how to put custom audiences and lookalikes together, and as long as you know your basics in terms of creative specs, formats, and placement, the most important consideration, do not run on crappy low inventory placements, then that's not much of a candidate there, but I thought I'd drop it there anyway, just so I make you aware of it. Moving on to setting. So when it comes to selling, you can be obviously dealing with appointment setting, which is done either by calling or by CRM automations. So you have leads, you phone them up, or you run ads, they become a lead, they enter your funnel. They need to be nurtured so that they actually show up to their meeting and or accept to book a meeting in the first place. How do you do that? There's a couple of things that we've got our eyes on. GHL AI bots. So Go High Level has its own AI bot functionality that nurtures the sequences, and you can use that to create a bunch of automations that are basically able to achieve speed to lead, which is the key. That's the number one reason why we will always recommend automations, and if nothing else, automations, and if ideally an AI bot that's capable for speed to lead, because that has proven to us times again that is the most capable thing to, when it comes to maximizing our response rate, our show up rate, the value, squeezing the value out of our leads. Then you've got 11labs.io, you've got air.ai. Air.ai is a language model that actually generates voice, renders voice, and can do the cold calling for you. If you look at a bunch of reviews online, bunch of people are pretty unhappy with it. It's quite laggy at the moment, but the technology is there. It's probably going to be an impressive force at some point. So it's there. You're aware of it now. 11labs.io is also a pretty interesting one. It actually allows you to train it with your own voice. So with a bit of no code and a bit of voice training, you can actually create your own AI, and maybe it could become even more powerful. So there you have it. That's there in the cards for you as well. And then finally, when it comes to selling, to closing, you can use Gamma, the app, for beautiful presentations. It generates your presentation from scripts, from prompts. It's really visually strikingly pleasing, quite wonderful with these visuals, with the themes, with the colors. I love Gamma, and it's where we started when we began pitching. Now we don't lean on it as much, although we certainly sometimes utilize some of these automatically generated graphs and videos, but we use Lucid quite a lot. So even if we don't use much of Lucid's AI capabilities, there are some embedded, and you can definitely use those as well to create visual pitches, because people are visual, and they do love to follow along, not just watch. So generate ideas. You can use the features here to prevent writer's block, to get your creative juices flowing. Now, a big fantasy of mine is that GPT will be trained to a point where, by the way, the GPT on mobile is extremely good at listening, so you can speak to it and prompt it with your voice. And I fantasize that module will be utilized by some sales AI SaaS software company to create a module that listens in real time to your clients, to your prospects' objections on the call, and actually tells you in real time what you can counter with, and gives you anecdotes and stories for story selling and for preempting some of those objections and dealing with them. So yeah, I think that would be fantastic. And speaking of that, there is Fathom, a scribe, a note taker. We absolutely love Fathom because it records our sales calls and it gives us the recordings with bullets and with the questions that were asked, so we can peruse them, we can jump into the points of highest interest, and we can learn from them very, very, very easily. So highly recommended. If you're not yet recording your sales calls, use something like Fathom, Fireflies, Spinach, any tool that's capable of a good render, of a good synthesizing abilities of your sales calls. So there you have it. That's sales. Almost there. Just a bit on marketing. Your marketing is going to be visual. Unsurprisingly, you're going to be leaning on Reels a lot, on long form content on YouTube. So you're going to want to be using some of these things that are going to make your life easier. GPT for ideation again, so that you don't stare at an empty page not knowing what the heck you're going to be speaking about. CapCut and captions are the invincible duo that I've been using relentlessly for their teleprompter capabilities and for their editing abilities. So the two things that take the longest time, in my experience, when it comes to producing videos, short form content, are the actual production, the shooting. And for that, you take your phone out, you use captions, and captions puts a prompter on your screen that you can look at, and you're going to literally script your video, your reel, and then you're going to read it out. And it looks really, really good. You can barely tell that people are looking at the camera and not looking at the camera. Captions I've already covered. And Opus is also a game changer right now. We use Opus for distribution. I cannot underestimate, I'm too tired. I cannot stress this enough. The importance of being able to distribute across TikTok, YouTube, Instagram with just the click of a button. It's just phenomenal. You put your long form videos in here from YouTube, and this thing is cropping them out into 30-second, 1 minute long videos. It's working on AI B-roll functionality. It's working on captions. It does some captioning as well, by the way, and it's great. It's also giving you feedback on what you should be using so that you make your videos more trendy, more relevant, what kind of trends to jump on, whether you should be talking more about AI, and so on and so forth. So Opus is great, and it's only $19 or something like that. So yeah, useful. And then finally, not the last, fulfillment. You'll notice that in fulfillment, I have a carbon copy of the selling process for your agency. So what you're doing working on your business, you're going to be doing working in your business, because you're working in your clients', you're working on your clients' businesses instead of them, right? So that's why we push everyone towards performance. We push everyone towards paid media as part of their service. Don't even think about paid media as your service anymore, as who you are. You're not an SMMA, right? You are a client acquisition company, and you are using paid media as your performance driving capabilities, whether it's on social media or whether it's pay-per-click, whatever it is, you have to have that as an agency. So there are so many web development agencies that we've spoken to in the last 3 months, so many SEO agencies. Forget about it. Those things are great as part of a part of a larger package, not in their own right. Go in the paid media route and benefit from the fact that you build it once and you use it twice, right? Whatever you develop R&D in-house for you is going to become your client's fulfillment as well. Now, the other element of it, and that is just as big when it comes to retention, so you prevent churn, is customer success. Customer success, onboarding, communication, just to name a few. And this is super important, because if you're going to squeeze value out of your customers, if you're going to offer them value, generate value for them, you're going to want to be incentivized. You're going to want to have some skin in the game. So that comes in two forms. The way we leverage that at the moment is, one, maximize revenue, and the other one is get case studies. Get case studies quickly. So what do I mean by that? Speed to results. In your case, if you don't have any clients, when you're starting out, you're in that catch-22 where you don't have clients because you can't get results and so on and so forth, right? What you do is you accept working on a back-end deal, whether it's work for free, your first client on us, $1 offer to start with, whatever it takes to eliminate that friction, because you already have enough friction as it is. The objection that is, they won't want to work with you because you don't have any clout, any credentials. And so because of that, because you want to get to those speed of results, you're going to be taking all of that friction out of the equation, offer to virtually work for free. Now that means they're going to have to find a way to maximize revenue to actually get results for your clients. And because of that, you're going to want to get to speed of results. You're going to want to get to those results fast. And that's why the onboarding and customer success are so important. Like, you can't just burn and churn. Forget about it. You're not going to build an agency by burning and churning. It's not a viable growth strategy, in case you haven't figured it out already. So apart from being a decent human being, this is what you want to focus on a lot. Apart from the fulfillment, which is so commoditized, and with the right tools, anyone and everyone can do it. And there's no point kidding ourselves. You're not going to stand out there. You might with brand, you might with your personality, but in communication, speaking of personality, and in actually delivering customer success is where you're going to ensure your continuity and your retention. So for that, you need accountability. You need accountability and you need gamification, a sense of progress. Your clients cannot be kept in the dark. You need tools to bake these things into your operations, into your fulfillment. And these tools loosely here are, for us, Discord, Zapier, Notion, ClickUp, Drive. Why did I put ClickUp twice? I have no idea. The reason why we use a mishmash of AI and automation here as well is because we're trying to make it simple at scale to generate results for our clients. So when I say that, I'm thinking onboarding, not a problem if you're onboarding 1 client a month. Onboarding, when you're onboarding 10 clients a week, is becoming a problem. How do we solve that? Zapier to Drive to Zapier, it gets sorted into a Notion, gets delivered to them. Not much AI in this sense. There is a bit of prompting with GPT and with Notion's embedded AI technology on what to do, what documents to create. The contract creation, we're probably going to automate that as well. So that's actually a good point. The contract creation and the onboarding documents. Contract drafting and the terms as well. And by the way, we also record our fulfillment calls as well, because we want to learn a lot from those too. And also because in fulfillment is where we collect our testimonials, case studies, all of the things that then become our marketing. So record your calls with Fathom, with whatever you want, and use that to extract testimonials and case studies. So I'm going to put a note on that. Not to forget, record calls to capture marketing. Cool, because that's going to become your marketing. And again, what else do we use here? We use ClickUp, we use Notion, and Discord. We use Discord to automate tasks that we require our clients to do, so that they are kept in the loop and so that they can basically have open lines of communication with us and are never kept in the dark. And that's where I end this. This is not so much AI as it is automation, but it's just as important. And of course, some of it a client success manager is going to handle for you. But if they have these good tools in their arsenal, a good project manager tool, a Kanban, or something that can actually show your client a gamified process of where they are, what are the steps that they need to go through to get to the end result that you promised them, which is going to be, in most instances, leads, booked appointments, qualified show-ups, and ultimately revenue uplift, then this is where there's still room for innovation, a lot. So I hope this helps. If you want any help and you're wondering how we currently create offers that decommoditize ourselves in the space and how we work in very highly commoditized industries in saturated niches, then go in the description. I'm leaving a link to our funnel, to our website. Go and get some sauce. And if you want to see how we can help you scale your agency to 10K and beyond, you know where to find us. That's it from me. Until next time, enjoy AI. Ciao.